Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is Thursday, and all of today's guests, including Farhan Lalji, standing by. Is Farhan standing by? We got him? Okay. All of today's guests brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants announced today that they will hold a chuck-a-puck. I had explained to Ryan what that is. Chuck-a-puck during the second intermission of tomorrow's game against Tri-City, with proceeds helping those impacted by the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles. Head to VancouverGiants.com to get single-game tickets for tomorrow's game and Sunday's game at 2 p.m. against Brandon. Or as Ryan has written here, Sunday's game at 2 p.m. Sunday against Brandon.
Wow.
We'll talk after the show.
Yeah.
As we bring in from TSN, Farhan Lalji. Farhan, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
I'm good. What's a chuck-a-puck?
Well, the fans have a puck. They chuck it onto the ice closest to the center ice logo wins the prize.
Yeah.
There you go.
My wife planned one of those for this New West charity event between the firefighters and the police that they did over the holiday season. But they had these little plastic ducks, so they called it a chuck-a-duck.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's the same idea.
All right, we'll get the whole story a little bit later. Hey, Farhan, before we get into the Canucks, the NFL, the CFL, the story from Steve Ewan yesterday in the province, it's official. SFU football is no more. I just want to get your take on that. You were so and still were so involved with SFU football from your days going to Simon Fraser. Just your opinion of the fact that it's official, no more football on top of Burnaby Mountain.
Yeah, really disappointing. Not surprising, right? I mean, I do think that the university made their decision in 2023. I think the report was just designed to buy some time and duck and cover a little bit. And, bad analogy, but, they shot us then, and the last 2 years has been a process of letting it bleed out, right? The way this university has handled this has been underhanded. It's been unprofessional from the timing and lack of consultation and communication when they made the first decision. I mean, they got sued by their own students. Complete lack of leadership, and they basically made the previous athletic director the fall guy because she was just executing orders from the president. Really, really disappointing situation. A lot of opportunities lost for kids. This is something they didn't want. They didn't engage us in the last couple of, in the last year while they went through this process of, okay, well, we got the report. Now we got to go hire an athletic director. And they've just continued to push the football alumni down the road. We've had solutions. There's funding. There's a lot of things that were available. They didn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to talk about it because they didn't want football. So it's unfortunate, but that's where we are.
Okay, and again, before we go any further, tell me about UBC. Tell us about UBC. Everything's okay there.
Oh yeah, I mean, entirely different situation and much better leadership. And they went through a process 10 years ago, right? They had a big sport review process. Yes. I want to say around 2014, and the alumni were brought in and other groups, and they were basically told, this is what it's going to take because we can't continue to fund it to this level. We need funding from other areas. And then they created some models, not just for football, but for other sports as well. And the athletic department was far better off for having done that, right? So they went through a legitimate, transparent process. They've won Vanier Cups. They've been in the championship game. They've had success as a program. And while I love what they're doing at UBC, British Columbia should not just have one football program at the university level. It's ridiculous. But at least they're at a university where there was some transparency to their process, and the athletes are getting opportunities as a result.
The BC Lions schedule out this morning. We got 5 Saturdays, 4 in the summer, 3 Fridays, 1 Sunday for home. A lot of 4 o'clock starts. I think 5, which I don't like. I like 7 o'clock starts, but they didn't ask me, unfortunately. Really? But anyways, your thoughts on the Lions schedule?
I said, you don't like 4? Like, I thought 7 was past your bedtime.
No. I'm used to sports at 7 o'clock at nighttime. I want nighttime games. I don't want 4 o'clock.
No, I hear you, but ultimately this proved to be a bit of a winner last year because they were able to get some out-of-town people, whether it's from the island, whether it's from the interior. Amar Doman made it clear he wants us to be a provincial team. And look, I know for me, I love it, right? Because you get a portion of your evening back. It's much better for families and for kids. And It's funny, right? I used to hate when the Canucks in Toronto had to play a 4:00 game here in Vancouver, right? And I hated it because of why?
Yes,
because we were trying to placate the Toronto market. But at the end of the day, who didn't love the 4:00 games? From a coverage standpoint, you don't have to do the morning skate.
Yep.
You just come in for the game, but you get your evening. You can go out and have dinner, and if you're in from out of town, you can enjoy Vancouver. All of those things. So I think it's a winner. I'm glad there's that. I wish there weren't as many Friday games in the fall, but that's just personal selfishness. I didn't like it when I was a high school coach, and you wanted all those kids playing Friday night games to be able to get to Lions games more consistently. And I hate it even more as the parent of a football player who's going to be a starter this fall, and I'm not missing his game. So you're going to see Chantel on the sidelines for a few, because I'll be taking some vacations on Friday night games in the fall, so I can go coach my kid. Coach my kid, watch my kid.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, geez.
As if you don't get enough time off.
The time off you get is just unbelievable.
Wait. Stop, guys, especially you, Donald. Do not be talking to me about
Donald. Oh, I got a Donald.
Donald.
There. He's serious.
You living the teacher schedule, thanks to Lisa.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about time off.
You know who I'm married to.
We worked hard for our summers off. Anyways, let's talk about the Canucks schedule. They're back home tonight. Not a good home record. 7 wins in 21 home games. Only Utah has fewer home wins, Farhan, than Vancouver in the NHL. They better get going here. They're out of a playoff spot. They got 5 of their next 6 at home starting tonight, and I don't think there's room for a lot of error going forward here.
No, Ricky, you're right. And look, we were saying for a while that this team wasn't good at home. They're not good anywhere right now, right? I mean, they lost 5 of the last 6. The trip was not good for them outside of that one game against Toronto. And there's no more excuses about health, right? And which most of us who watch this team closely knew was somewhat of an excuse, right? Because every team goes through a level of injury. This team was crazy healthy last year. All their guys have been hurt, but not necessarily all at the same time this year. Now they got everybody other than Dakota Joshua back. It's time for this team to start showing up. It really, really is, because you're right. I mean, they come back home out of a playoff spot, points percentage, and there's nothing about this team right now that gives you any confidence to think they're going to get in, because outside of Quinn Hughes, their best players haven't been their best. Yep. They overplayed Kevin Lankin in the last game. That didn't go as well. So I'm guessing we're going to see Thatcher Demko tonight. We're going to find out in a few minutes at the skate. And, we're all dying for JT Miller and Elias Pettersson to show us something, right? We had the 4-point game a little while ago with Miller, but then nothing since. Player that looks totally disengaged. Pettersson's had some moments, but all they are is moments. So, there's not a lot to like about this team right now, right? I mean, it's not just the drama; it's just simply the performance, right? Like the drama goes away if the performance improves, and that's just not close to happening right now.
Back to football, a lot going on. College final, well, that's on Monday. Yeah. NFL playoff weekend, divisional round. Where's your assignment?
Leaving tomorrow for Kansas City, so I will be at the Chiefs and Houston Texans game. And like everybody else, I'm really excited to watch that Buffalo and Baltimore game, right? I mean, 2 guys that have been knocking on the door behind Patrick Mahomes, and now they get to play one another in this setting. And 2 guys that are going to be the finalists, the front runners for MVP. Both have had fantastic seasons. And I kind of think Buffalo has leveled out a little bit in the last month offensively, but I think Baltimore's just getting better and better and better. But, I'm excited for both of those games, really all 4 divisional playoff games, but definitely the one I'm covering, because CJ Stroud's playing so well. Mahomes and that team's going to be healthy, but should be a pretty compelling weekend.
I'm detecting a little bitterness there, Farhan. Yeah. You don't get to go to Buffalo and cover that game.
No.
That's the first thing you talked about there.
Naylor always goes to Buffalo, just for obvious reasons. So good for him. He gets to go. It's going to be a good one. And I get a lot of Kansas City games. So if it's Buffalo, Kansas City in the final, or in the AFC final, I think it's going to be him. But look, I get great assignments. I'm going right from Kansas City to Atlanta for the college championship. So I have and that's one of the reasons is so that I could do a Saturday game, travel Sunday to get to the Monday championship. So I am not complaining, my friend. I got great football ahead of me this weekend.
The obvious reason being that Dave Naylor lives in Toronto and Buffalo's a short hop away. So a lot of work this weekend. No wonder you get so much time off.
Oh,
you're horrible. A busy guy. Makes sense now.
Yeah, there you go. Now I don't have to have a teacher wife that detects that determines that I get time off. You get to You know,
Yeah.
I work for my time off, my friend.
You know me too well. Safe travels, Farhan. Thanks for doing this.
All right, see you, boys.